Hello, everyone, and welcome to Cellular Healing TV. I'm your host, Meredith Dykstra, and this is episode number 167. We have our resident cellular healing specialist, Dr. Dan Pompa, on the line, of course, and today we welcome special guest, Dr. Trevor Cates. And we have a very exciting topic for you guys today, and we're going to be delving into the skin. And Dr. Cates is an expert on the skin, so before we get into it, let me tell you a little bit more about Dr. Trevor. Dr. Trevor Cates is a nationally recognized naturopathic doctor. She's also known as the Spa Doctor and was the first woman recognized as a naturopathic doctor in the state of California, appointed by former Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger to California's Bureau of Naturopathic Medicine Advisory Council. She's worked with world-renowned spas and sees patients in her private practice in Park City, Utah, with a focus on graceful aging and glowing skin. She has been featured on The Doctors, Extra, First for Women, Mind Body Green, and is the host of the Spa Doctor podcast. Dr. Cates believes the key to healthy skin is inner and outer nourishment with non-toxic ingredients. Her new book, Clean Skin from Within, was released in March 2017. Dr. Cates' The Spa Doctor skincare and supplement lines are formulated with natural and organic ingredients designed to help you achieve the cleanest and natural path to confidence and beautiful skin. And more information is at thespadoctor.com. Welcome, Dr. Trevor Cates, to Cellular Healing TV.
Thank you. It's so great to be here.
Yeah, hello. Listen, for me, it's Trevor because, we've wakeboarded together. We live here together in Park City, and, we have such a close, little group of, amazing health people in Park City, Utah, right? Meredith, you see that, right? It's like, we could just interview people here from Park City, for goodness sakes. There's such amazing people here. And you are one of them, Trevor. And, I'm so glad you're here. And, I know you have a book that's out, and, your product line. I want you to talk about both for sure, and where people can get those. But look, I always love to start with this question. How did you get into this? I mean, I love to hear people's why. Like, you could have done a lot of things. Naturopathic goes one way, but you went skin. How did you get that interest?
Yeah, well, it was kind of an interesting path. And like many people, I had my own health challenges. Like many people that end up doing integrative naturopathic medicine, functional medicine. I struggled with my health when I was a kid, and I had a lot of allergies and skin issues. So I had eczema, hives, and these little bumps. And I went to see, my parents took me to see a lot of different conventional specialists, and nothing really helped me. In fact, I just kept feeling worse, and I would have adverse reactions or allergic reactions to a lot of the medications I was given. And it was really devastating on a physical level, but also with the skin, it's right on the surface. You can't hide it. And it was really, it impacted, my self-esteem as a kid and how I showed up. And I was picked on at school, and it was a really tough time. I remember that well. And luckily my parents didn't give up. They kept searching, and they found a holistic practitioner that they took me to. And that's the one thing that turned my health around. And from an early age of 12, I realized how there's a different way of looking at health, of looking at treating our bodies, and also about our skin. And I learned so much about that. And it's eventually what led me to be interested in going to naturopathic medical school, because when I found out about naturopathic medicine and the training, I realized it really meshed with my core beliefs about health and wellness and how to take care of the body. And so I went that direction, and I've been practicing for 17 years. And about 5 years ago, I wasn't focusing on skin until about 5 years ago. I started working in certain world-renowned spas, and I ended up seeing a lot of people with skin issues, but also I was doing a 2-week program for weight loss. And one of the things that people would say, in addition to losing weight, that their skin would clear up. They looked more youthful. Their skin had a glow to it. And to me, that made sense because of my experience. But to so many people, this concept that instead of suppressing and covering up skin issues, to realize that our skin is giving us messages about our health.
No doubt. Yeah, matter of fact, I always say, look, there's 5 areas that we all look at people and don't even realize we do it and judge their health. It's the eyes, the teeth, the hair, the skin, and overall shape. I mean, those 5 areas, your subconscious literally assesses somebody and goes, oh, wow, you look so healthy. And it's, you know, how good you put all those together, you know, no doubt radiates your health, or quite the opposite, disease. But I'll tell you what, you're right. I mean, skin is a reflection. And I know that's something you talk about in your book. I mean, skin is a reflection of your health. I mean, I know, listen, if you want to get ladies' attention, talk about hair and skin, you know, and they don't like the way they look. But when I look at someone, especially as a practitioner, you know, I immediately assess their hair and skin. I mean, whether it's thyroid condition. We were watching a show last night, and my son said something about a woman on television right now, and he said something like she doesn't look healthy. And I said, yeah, she has a thyroid condition. How do you know? I said, because she has these dark things under her eyes, you know, and he's like, oh yeah, I see people, you know, it's like, so immediately, boom, you know, it's like one little thing I could tell, no doubt she was struggling, and her hair definitely reflected that as well. Talk about that, because, you know, I've heard you say the exact same thing.
Yeah, I do. I call skin our magic mirror that gives us great clues about our overall health. And like I said, the typical approach to dermatology is to just cover it up or suppress it. And so a lot of times women will put on makeup, they'll just cover their blemishes, they'll use a different moisturizer, they'll, you know, use different things, or they go and get an over-the-counter treatment or even a prescription medication to calm down the inflammation externally to suppress the signs. But what I'm encouraging people to do is, instead of just covering up, to use your skin as a tool. Don't be hard on yourself about your skin. I think especially women are particularly hard, and they look in the mirror and they get frustrated with what they see. But looking at skin, because it's our largest organ, and it's right on the surface of our body, so we can use it as a tool to give us information. And what it really is about, or what is the root cause behind the skin issue? If you have dry skin, eczema, psoriasis, acne, premature aging, if you feel like you're aging faster than people around you, these are all signs that your skin is giving you that something needs to change. And there's a genetic predisposition. There's a genetic component to this. But as you know, we can change our genetic expression by our lifestyle choices, by what we eat, by how we manage our stress, our sleep, and, you know, the reducing toxins around us, those sorts of things.
Yeah, there's no doubt. You know, as a matter of fact, you know, I had mentioned, you know, the dark circles and that, you know, adrenal and thyroid conditions. You know, you talk about, you know, different patterns of skin and different skin types. Talk a little bit about that, because certain things, you know, no doubt skin types, or you're going to see presentations of certain things, you know, and different things that we can see on our skin that would indicate certain things that are going on perhaps somewhere else in the body, like the gut or somewhere else.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, what I decided to do was to redefine skin types, because instead of just categorizing skin as dry, oily, mature, sensitive, the typical skin types, I decided to redefine them, and I created 5 different skin types, and they all have human names, because I see my patients, I see people as people, not just a skin issue or a skin disease. So they're Amber, Olivia, Sage, Heath, and Emmett are my skin types. And the other thing, in addition to, you know, looking at this more holistically, is each of these skin types, I categorize them based upon some of the root causes behind them. So I believe that there's 6 root causes behind skin issues. I talk about all of this in my book, Clean Skin from Within. And with each of the skin types, there's a unique combination of those. So this way, people can understand how to address the root causes. Because I know, you know, when I sit down with my patients one-on-one, it's like solving a mystery, trying to figure out what are the root causes that are holding them back from having that, you know, really clear, clean, glowing skin. And when I was writing my book, I wanted to make it easy for people to figure that out on their own. And so that's why I created this, the skin types, and I created a skin quiz. And then there's actually an online version of this. It's free, and it's just 10 questions. Just people can go to theskinquiz.com, or they can just go to my website and they can find it there. And it's super quick and easy, and then they'll find out which defined skin types they are. And then in my book, I talk about a 2-week program to help people have more clear, glowing skin. And in chapter 6, I talk about how to customize the 2-week program based upon their skin type. So they know their skin type, then they can make some adjustments that I talk about in chapter 6. So it's like, you know, I figured out a way to reach more people, and they don't have to necessarily come in to see me. It's a great way to get started.
Yeah, no, that's perfect, because so many people, you know, want to start there, no doubt about it. Yeah, so yeah, give your website as well, because I'm sure, and can they get your book from your website, or can they get it on Amazon?
Yes, and so they can go to thespadoctor.com, and doctor is abbreviated DR, so it's THESPADR.com. And yeah, so you can access the quiz there. You can find out where to get my book and lots of information.
All right, so talk about the types. Talk about each type so people can just kind of get an idea, and then, you know, maybe as an example, take 1 or 2 types, and then, you know, kind of go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. So with the 5 different skin types, so, you know, we have Olivia is one of the skin types, and
my daughter's name.
Yeah. So, and these names are based upon some of my patients, but yeah. You know, they're not necessarily,
I'm sure they're thrilled.
that people with the name Olivia. Yeah. So Olivia skin types tend to have more oily skin. Not necessarily, they can have combination, but they do tend to be prone to acne, breakouts, or enlarged pores, blackheads, whiteheads, those kinds of things. So that's Olivia. And then also there's Emmett skin types. They tend to have more inflammatory skin issues like eczema. So there's an immune system component underlying a lot of with the Emmett skin types. With the Heath skin types, it's more of an inflammatory skin condition. So rosacea, for example, some people rosacea, perioral dermatitis, those kinds of skin conditions would be more of the Heath. Sage is going to be more of the people that are experiencing premature aging, a lot of excess wrinkles, sagging skin. So those are our sage skin types. And then amber, a lot of amber types have hyperpigmentation or uneven skin tone, and that's one of their struggles. So one of the big root causes with amber types is oxidative damage. And so, you know, sun exposure, also exposure to toxins in the environment, can speed up that oxidative damage that's occurring in the body, and that can show up on our skin as these, you know, as age spots, liver spots, hyperpigmentation, uneven skin tone, lots of freckles, you know, those sorts of things. So those are, I mean, real briefly, the 5 different skin types. And you know, they each have their own combination of root causes, and I can talk about the root causes some too. So I find that there are 6 root causes, and I mentioned oxidative damage as one of them, and inflammation being another big one. I call it skinflammation because it's internal inflammation that shows up on our skin. And other ones are hormonal imbalances. Those can definitely, because you mentioned thyroid, and a lot of times when I say hormone imbalances, people automatically think sex hormones, you know, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, which certainly can play a role in our skin health. You know, we know that during puberty or big changes in you know, certain points in our lives when the hormones change, people can have flare-ups with acne, for example. And then, but also thyroid is another hormone where if we get low thyroid function, we can be more prone to dry skin. That's one of the signs as a practitioner we look for when people were looking for hypothyroidism, is dry skin. And so, and then on the reverse side of that, if people are getting, they're hyperthyroid, then their skin can start to be more oily or acne prone. So certainly, and then also cortisol, or adrenal hormone. triggers inflammation and inflammatory skin conditions. So that's another one of the hormonal imbalances. So definitely hormone imbalances play a big role. Nutritional deficiencies also. I'm sure you talk about this is while you're looking, and when you look at patients as practitioners, is one of the things, as more functional medicine doctors, we look at is signs of nutritional deficiencies on the skin, right? So that's another one. And of course, the gut health and the gut microbiome, and the importance of our gut health is directly related to our skin health. Mm-hmm. And I don't think there's a lot of talk about the gut microbiome, the balance of the microorganisms in our digestive tract. But there's less talk about the skin microbiome, the skin microbiota. But the skin has its own some different microorganisms that live on the skin. And when that gets out of balance is a big contributing factor to skin issues: acne, eczema, psoriasis, rosacea, premature aging. Most of the chronic skin issues, part of what's going on is the imbalance in the skin microbiota. And so part of that's related to what you're doing with your gut and your digestion. And then part of it's also what we do topically on the skin.
Yeah, it's funny. I had to give a talk about the skin and about the microbiome of the skin, ironically enough. And I was able to find some studies linking, of course, the gut. We understand that it affects this, but the opposite even. That this microbiome, as you just said, affects our gut microbiome. And it was cool. I am going from memory here, but it was, they took mice and they changed their skin temperature. So they literally were, putting them from hot to cold, cold, hot. But what that did is it forced the microbiome to adapt. Here's the cool part. They found that the mice were able to break through weight loss resistance. So what they said in the study was changing the microbiome of the skin changed the microbiome of the gut, which ultimately allowed for the mice to actually lose weight where they couldn't. So that was a whole study. It was pretty cool. And there was another one, but point being, to your point, this microbiome affects this. And now we're talking about microbiome. We're talking about this bacteria of, all types of bacteria, viruses, funguses, this whole, ecosystem that lives in our skin. I think it's one of the big criticisms I've always had about every school and daycare thing about taking the darn hand sanitizers, and you're just crushing the microbiome again and again and again. And I guess you can speak to it better than I. We're doing that with a lot of skin cleansers that people, women in particular, I would say, use before bed, perhaps daily soap that they're using, and even makeup. So, talk a little bit about how we're disrupting that microbiome, and then it could be triggering those obviously skin problems that you were discussing.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is certainly a big thing. As I mentioned, part of it comes from internally what's going on, but then also there's the part of what are we putting externally on our skin. And like you mentioned, the hand sanitizers, there's, we live in a germophobic society where we feel like anything that's antimicrobial is good. Antibiotics are good. Antimicrobial soaps are good. We got to kill those germs. Yeah. Well, when we're killing the germs, we're also killing the probiotics, the good bacteria. And our skin really is delicate, and that it needs these microorganisms to protect the skin, to keep it healthy, to keep it clear of breaking out. And when we are starting to break out, it's that's a sign that our skin microbiome is disrupted. And so what people a lot of times do is then they'll start putting more products on. Well, a lot of these products contain antimicrobial agents that are designed to either keep the products from growing bacteria in them, or to help treat what they think would be helpful to kill off bacteria. But that is all going to disrupt the skin microbiome. Right. And another big factor that I think a lot of people aren't aware of is that the skin actually in its healthy state does best in a mildly acidic environment. So it does best with a lower pH. So neutral pH being 7, our skin does best with a pH in the 4 to 5 or 5.5 range. And when we're using skincare products, they should be in the 4.5 to 5 pH range generally, and just to help the skin microbiome flourish and be healthy. And there's actually been studies too on the aging effects of our skin. And then if our skin pH is out of balance, if it's too high, then our skin can age rapidly. So yeah, so a lot of times where people are using products on their faces that are also the pH of the products are too high. Like a bar of soap that foams up and suds up like that, that's a sign that it has a high pH. And even water has a neutral pH of 7, which is too high for our skin. So when we rinse our face with water, ideally we should be putting something on afterwards to restore it to a healthier pH. And especially for people who have skin issues that already have inflamed skin, rosacea, acne, you know, the premature aging, all of that, especially for those people. It's so important. And, you know, here we are, you know, people are doing the opposite of what they should be doing by putting on these toxic ingredients. And I mean, we haven't even touched on the idea, you know, these hormone disrupting chemicals and carcinogenic ingredients that are in personal care products too.
Yeah, no doubt, which disrupt the microbiome, the bacteria, you know, and bacteria like a more acid environment, just like in your gut, right? That's an acid environment. So, you know, that's the same with the skin, you know, it's no doubt. And when you get that elevation in pH and more alkaline, just like in the gut, you disrupt the microbiome. You know, it's funny, I mean, we can go internal now, you know, and we could talk about some chemicals in the stuff too, because obviously you developed a line without chemicals. But you know, I have to say this from an internal perspective. One of the things I always say is if you want to age faster than anybody, and is elevate your glucose and insulin continually. I mean, you know, it just oxidizes the collagen, you know, and no doubt you can tell, you can look at a smoker and know that they're a smoker because of their skin, right? I mean, severe oxidation from a chemical standpoint. No doubt you can tell you're carbohydrate addicted people. You can tell people who even are skinny but with bad skin, because just because they don't get fat this way, that doesn't mean that they're not elevating glucose and insulin, probably have a fatty liver, and typically destroy their collagen. So, you know, what you put in absolutely matters from that. So you can speak to that.
Yeah, and blood sugar is I think the one that I didn't mention on the root causes, the 6 root causes. That is another one of the big root causes. And for as you mentioned, it's a big aging factor, because when we get too much sugar and our blood sugar is elevated, or foods that turn to sugar, you know, and our blood sugar is elevated, it causes glycation problems in the body, where glucose will bind to proteins. And in the case of skin, that's our collagen, and collagen, you know, gives us our skin the texture and firmness. And so when glucose binds to it, it makes it break down, and so we'll get more wrinkles and sagging skins, like what you're talking about. In addition, you know, acne is the most common skin condition in you know, really in the world. In the United States, I mean, well, I guess it's the eighth most prevalent disease worldwide, which is amazing that acne is that, you know, worldwide spread, but it's definitely the #1 skin condition in the United States. And so with sugar, if people are eating a lot of sugar, their blood sugar is increasing, and that means insulin will rise. And increased insulin will trigger excess sebum production, the oils in our skin, as well as androgen activity. And so that causes people to have acne breakouts. And, you know, this is about, you know, the glycemic index of foods, and balancing your blood sugar is really important. I mean, we've all had those acne breakouts and sometimes wonder, oh, why am I breaking out? And a lot of times it's related to sugar. Sometimes it's hormonal imbalances, but sugar and gut health definitely play a role in that too.
You know, we did an interview, Meredith, you recall, you know, with my daughter, and one of the things she said is what motivated her to change her diet was her acne. And she took grains away, and, you know, lo and behold, her acne cleared up. And, you know, of course, you know, she went through that path to realize cause and effect. You know, I watched, you know, my boys go through puberty, hormones, acne, but hormones don't cause acne, right? It was like they both all had to realize that it was something causing the imbalance of the hormones that was driving the acne. So, you know, they all had to realize their diet is playing a role. And, you know, my son Daniel, I mean, he talked about how when he had to detox actually to get rid of his acne. So his toxic exposure, he had very high lead levels like his mother, really played a role of dysregulating his hormones. And he had to go to that source to control his hormones, to control his acne. So, you know, just getting our viewers and listeners, you know, the idea of, you know, we want to put the right stuff here, but please, you know, it is an internal problem. I mean, it really is. And, you know, Trevor's making that point, you know, I think so perfectly.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And when we talk about hormone imbalances, you know, I love that you're pointing that out, because a lot of times I have women that come to see me and say, I think my hormones are out of balance. I need hormones. And I'll say, okay, well, you know, maybe we can do some bioidentical hormones, but let's figure out why your hormones are out of balance first. And yes, there are changes that happen throughout our lives where our hormones will change, but you know, there's so much we can do with our diet and lifestyle. And I'll talk to people about their diet and their stress management, and they're like, why are you talking to me about this when it's my hormones that are the issue? And I'm like,
yeah.
This is how you're going to help balance your hormones. I'm not going to just give you, you know, an herb or a bioidentical hormone to make your hormones magically balance. There's a, you know, there's a whole.
Yeah, people want the simple thing, Trevor. People want the simple thing, right? You know, and here's the other lunacy, and I'll let you speak to this while we're on the subject of acne. So, you know, my kids did that. They got to the cause. They fixed their problem, right? But however, a lot of their friends, they fixed their problem with Accutane, right, or Retin-A. Speak to some of those fixes, if you will, only to lead to massive problems later. Speak to that.
Right. Yeah, no, there's these medications, a lot of these medications, they have horrible side effects. And you know, I'm not saying that that medications should never be used. There is a place for medications, I think, in some cases. What's that?
I said, there's always a time and a place for. Yeah.
Yes. There is a time and a place for them. And as a naturopathic physician, we're, you know, as a licensed naturopathic physician, we're trained to be able to prescribe medications. So we know when to use them, but we don't like to use them. I don't like to use them as a first resort. So, you know, the problem is that many of these have side effects, and some of them, you know, can be debilitating if they do develop these side effects. I've seen it people's lives, you know, depression from some of the acne medications and being suicidal. And, you know, it's so disturbing to see that happen when we go back to some of these root causes, talking about gut health and addressing inflammation and, looking at these things and changing your diet and lifestyle. And there's so much that can be addressed by doing that. And if we skip over that, we're really missing an opportunity. And when you you know, and it's so great when I see people, you know, when their skin, you know, as I see their skin clearing up, and they're so relieved to see that. And I remind them, you know, you also mentioned these side benefits instead of side effects of getting medications. If you've gone that route, instead you get the side benefits of having more energy, sleeping better at night, getting to your ideal weight. These are the kinds of side effects that we want to have from a treatment.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, Meredith, speak to, you know, some of your story, because, you know, skin played a role, you know, in Meredith's life. And matter of fact, she even used some of your products.
Yeah, Dr. Trevor, I've really enjoyed a lot of your products, and it really just kind of helped to decrease some inflammation in my skin. So I remember in particular, I like the oil that you had. That was really, really soothing on my skin. So yeah, can you talk about kind of how you designed those and kind of what was the kind of the philosophy behind them?
Yeah, absolutely. So as I mentioned, I started to focus a lot on skin when I was working in certain spas, and people started, you know, one of the things I told my patients was make sure you're using non-toxic skincare, natural skincare products, because I was aware of there's so many toxins in skincare products, and I wanted them to reduce that. And then they started asking me where they could get them. But, you know, the reason why we want to be careful with skincare products is on average we use 9 personal care products a day, which exposes us to 126 unique ingredients.
Yep.
And that's, I think if you start adding up the number of products you use, from shampoos and conditioners to deodorants and men, aftershaves, women, makeup, all the different products you use, you might use more than 9. So it's a lot of ingredients we're exposed to. And unfortunately, in the United States, the FDA has not regulated personal care product ingredients very well, where in Europe, they've banned over 1,000 ingredients in personal care products. In the United States, they've only banned 11 ingredients. So it's really left up to the consumer to figure out what's safe, because manufacturers, they want to make cheap products, they want them to last a long time, and they want people to feel shiny and happy.
Of course.
And so it's not what's healthy, what's best for your skin. It's unfortunately. And so, that's one of the things that I do is I try and educate. I've been educating my patients, and educating, with my book and everything, about, why we need to reduce our toxins in skincare products. And so, there are ingredients that are hormone disrupting chemicals, that are carcinogenic, that are in many of the personal care products we use. And I want to share a few examples, because I know sometimes it's hard to believe that this would be in our products, that these would be allowed. And I also want to remind people that skin is an organ and it's permeable. Yeah. So when you put on your skin, doesn't just stay on the surface. It actually can get absorbed, does get absorbed. That's why people use hormone creams and hormone patches and nicotine patches on their skin, because things can get absorbed. So an example is a group of chemicals that are used in so many products that are called formaldehyde releasers. And you're not going to see formaldehyde releaser on the label. You'll see things like DMDM hydantoin and other big long words. And what this group of chemicals has is, what happens is when you apply these products to your skin, they release formaldehyde into the air around you.
Wow.
Formaldehyde is a known carcinogen, and it's most toxic when inhaled. So you're breathing in formaldehyde. It's also getting absorbed in your skincare. You could walk down the aisles of any department store, drugstore, grocery store, and pick up, a handful of different products. They're probably going to have one of these formaldehyde releasers in there, the products that people are using every day. And I know that a lot of manufacturers will say, well, there's not enough in there to cause harm. And
that's what they always say.
Yes, and that's the thing. The problem is that everybody's saying this, and we live in a very toxic world. We have more toxins in our environment that we're exposed to than we ever have been, because we've got all the new fancy chemicals that are being developed, and then we have all the chemicals that have been banned that still continue to exist in our water and our soil, and that might still be manufactured in China or other countries, and they travel over in clouds and then rain down on us. So we have more toxins in our environment than ever. And we don't have control over toxins in certain places. So where we live, we can't control the air we breathe when we walk outside, but we do have control over certain things, like the personal care products we use and what we bring in our home, the foods we eat. So that's where I tell people to start. So this is what I've been educating my patients on for a long time, and about the importance of reducing toxin exposure and starting with things that you have control over, like your personal care products. And so when I would tell my patients that, they would say, okay, but what products do you recommend? So we started asking people that I knew, dermatologists and estheticians, and what they told me really bothered me. They told me, well, you have to choose between natural or effective, because you can't have both. And I thought, well, that's ridiculous, because I know of the healing powers of nature. I think that people might just be missing out on something. So that's when I started really digging into the research on not only non-toxic, but what are the natural ingredients and components and formulations that make products effective at at helping clear up the skin, help us age gracefully. And that's when I started finding the research on the pH of the skin and the skin microbiome, and also learning which natural actives, which natural ingredients, and in what forms they're most potent in. And I couldn't find anybody that was doing what I wanted. So that's why I created my own skincare line, the Spa Doctor's Daily Essentials.
Awesome. Grab your book behind you there, because there's a glare. And I can't see it. There you go. All right, there it is. I love the title, by the way.
Clean Skin from Within. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Super excited about it. Yeah. We're getting great reviews. #1 in a couple of categories on Amazon, bestsellers and other places too.
So that's fantastic.
We're very excited about it. And also, in addition to my 2-week program and talking about toxins and how to reduce them and natural alternatives, I also have recipes in the book. So lots of delicious recipes for foods to eat, as well as do-it-yourself skincare recipes. So it's lots of fun stuff.
That's awesome. I mean, that's why you're getting good reviews. You know, you have a lot to offer, you know, no doubt about it. Yeah. So, you know, Meredith, I know you have more questions, because this is your love. Look at her. You can just tell.
Always questions. So we haven't quite dug into the food component, and I'm wondering, kind of, I know you've mentioned there are some great foods for our skin and then some that aren't so good. So can you kind of explain that a little bit more?
Yeah, well, I touched on one as far as foods that aren't good for the skin. I kind of touched on the idea of sugar, or foods that turn to sugar, and how those aren't good for our skin. Sugar really is one of the biggest trigger foods for skin. There's only one thing that you can try to cut out or reduce to help with your skin, you know, like I would suggest at least starting there. And another big trigger food is, you know, are dairy products. And they tend to really be one of the biggest things, especially for people with acne issues, but also other skin issues. And for some people, it's all dairy products. And for some, they're able to people are to identify certain types of dairy. Skim milk being the worst, especially for people with acne. And I think that's probably because you're also taking out the fat that helps with, you know, blood sugar. So maybe that's part of the reason why skim milk is particularly an issue. So I would be careful. You know, those are two that I would be careful of, just because, you know, they're pro-inflammatory foods. Inflammation is such a big trigger for skin issues. And especially when people are doing my 2-week program, I'm trying to get rid of all of those big trigger foods and those pro-inflammatory foods. And instead replace with things that are actually going to really help heal the gut and provide antioxidants and great solutions. So good foods are going to be things like avocados, which have great fats. So monounsaturated fats. We need good, healthy fats for our skin. Our skin cells really need those good fats. And
I agree.
Instead of, you know, trans fats, hydrogenated oils, we want to get rid of those, and using things like avocados, avocado oil are a nice alternative. They also have great antioxidants in there too. And so, you know, people don't need to overdo it. It's not that more is better. An avocado a day is plenty. People don't need to do more than that. And some people, half of an avocado a day is plenty as well. Another one of my favorite foods is wild Alaskan salmon. And because wild salmon has those beneficial omega-3s that are anti-inflammatory, as well as containing astaxanthin. Astaxanthin is a potent antioxidant that protects the skin from the inside out from oxidative damage. And it's, you know, one of the things that gives it that pink color. And there are other nutrients in wild salmon that are also great for the skin. And I'm saying, of course, wild, because you're not going to get the same benefits from farm-raised salmon. And then also with farm-raised, you're going to be getting more PCBs and other environmental contaminants.
You know what? Here's a couple. In my talk, I found some, maybe these foods would shock people, but the burnt on, like, let's say you burn your hamburger on the grill, you know, caution with grilled foods. The HCAs, as they're called, come off of there, and yeah, you know, they're cancer causing. But interestingly, I found studies showing how oxidative they are to the skin. and how they break down collagen. So there's one maybe some people, surprised about. And what was the other one? A lot of the gluten-free products.
That plays into those, it plays into the glycation issues. It's
absolutely
pathway, yeah. And so certainly, grilled vegetables don't have the same effect though. It's grilled meats that have those problems. So if you're going to do something on the grill, maybe a skewer of veggies.
Yeah, exactly. It's the proteins that are, where these are forming, and then we're ingesting them. Then the other one was a lot of these gluten-free products. Beware, they're higher glucose drivers than the regular products, if you will. So people are reaching for gluten-free, just because it's a hot selling point today, right? Especially probably for a lot of our viewers and listeners. But be cautious. The potato starches and the corn starches. I mean, there's so many super sugars now, as they're known, that drive glucose, and really even more than say regular wheat. So, but yeah, just some surprises. That's awesome.
Yeah, and gluten can definitely be one of the trigger foods for skin issues. But like you're saying, you're not just replacing gluten with gluten-free items. You still have to be careful, because they're still going to play into the glycemic index issues, the increase in the blood sugar and all that comes along with that, as well as just being, some of them are so heavily processed, and they're hidden ingredients. And I'll walk into certain grocery stores and I'll see big gluten-free section, and then I'll look at the label and just think, oh my gosh, there are all these people that are buying these products thinking, oh, I'm being good by shopping gluten-free and giving these to my family, and not realizing how much processed ingredients are in there.
Yeah, we're kind of hearing the same thing. Remember back in the day, it was well, hey, at least it's low fat, right? And then they're saying they're eating their yogurt, right? It was sugar loaded, which is actually even a bigger problem. And we're hearing the same thing now. Well, at least it's gluten-free, and there they are with their cookie or ice cream, whatever it is, it's the same thing. It just, people use it as that justification, at least it's this, and I, gosh, it's
just get back to eating more veggies.
Well,
that's the thing that everybody will, we need more vegetables, we need more antioxidants, we need more fresh food.
Yeah, people go, oh yeah, I know that, right? But they'd rather eat their gluten-free bagel. Yeah.
Well, I'm curious too, Dr. Trevor, what are your thoughts on fasting? I know Dr. Pompa, you use that a lot for, clients who have skin challenges. So do you incorporate that at all?
Fasting? It's not something that I recommend for everyone, but I think it can be great for certain people and at certain times. I always am cautious with people, because I see a lot of very sick people that come into people come see my practice. They're not just, sort of like, maybe I should do something different. They're usually like multiple issues, including skin issues. And so I usually need to build them up before doing a fast. But I do a fast once a year. So yeah, I think it can be great when you're in the right state of health.
It's funny, this particular client I had this morning, we started doing one 24-hour fast a week. And it was the only time that during the fast she could actually close her hands. And then this was another client. It was, then we started her actually on partial fasting. So where we actually do between 500 and 1,000 calories, and we're doing that once a month. And lo and behold, that client yesterday during the partial fast is the only time that all of her, now hers is autoimmune driven, but her skin issues actually clear out. And then she starts introducing food again. Now that they're coming back, but it's lessening. So, an interesting,
that is interesting.
A fast doesn't necessarily mean we have to go just water, although I love water fasting, don't get me wrong. However, there's many different types of fast, because as you point out, different needs for different reasons.
Right. And certainly a 24-hour fast is very different than like a 10-day fast. So somebody, a lot of people could do a 24-hour fast that wouldn't be ready to do a week-long fast.
Every time this gal does one, she can literally wake up, her hands, she's not able to do it, and her ankles don't swell. So, but she's getting more efficient as we go on.
Right. I think so many people get to a point where everything that they're eating is inflaming them, and it becomes like
that's most of my clients.
Yeah, they're becoming more and more limited in what they can eat, and so I would think that fasting could be a good thing to do while you're healing the gut and addressing some of the issues, so that people aren't reacting to everything they eat, because that's not a normal response. That's not where we want.
The clients, not just myself, but my practitioners and doctors see, it's impossible to heal their gut without fasting them. It's just, you're never going to heal a gut by just throwing bacteria down there. And, fasting, multiple types of fasting in some sort, is the way, number one, to rest, to reset the microbiome, and number three, to down-regulate the inflammation enough to change the genome, the epigenetics. So multiple ways we use that. But, the skin. So, give to our viewers and listeners just some, things that they should do. If you had to pick 3 things they should start doing right now, what is it? Like, I mean, boom, 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 because people, this, Trevor, people, if it's not simple enough, they'll walk away and say, this was great information, and they'll do nothing. I'll start with one: get your book. I'm saying, because that's an action step that puts it in your face every day, and then you have somewhere where you can go and, inquire more information. So get her book. There's my one. And now go ahead. You give them 3 action steps for better skin.
Yeah. And, the book, I've put years of research and practice experience into that. So I share everything that I have my patients start with. And so there's so much great information there, plus the recipes. So definitely it's very much I explain why, how, and what they need to be doing. So it's certainly a great place to start. And then as far as skincare products, start looking at the ingredients in your skincare products. I have a list of 20 ingredients in my book of the worst ingredients you definitely want to avoid and why. And so start looking at those, at your skincare products, and figure out how you can start transitioning at least the ones you use every day to something more natural and non-toxic. And then also looking, things like the pH and all of that, because just because it's non-toxic doesn't mean that it's going to be good for your skin, which is a big thing that I think a lot of people are learning. And I didn't even know that. As a naturopathic doctor, it's something that
right.
Yeah. And so I would say that, and we've talked about blood sugar and how important that is. I would say that's one to really think about. What are you eating? How is it impacting your blood sugar? How can you maintain a healthier blood sugar throughout the day? It's not just, eating one thing, but it's, on a day-to-day basis, on an ongoing basis, what is your blood sugar doing? Go and get your blood sugar tested, your fasting blood sugar, your hemoglobin A1C, see where you are, because you should be in an ideal range with your fasting blood sugar, not just a normal range. So like an 80, 85 would be the upper end of a healthy number for fasting blood sugar. So I would say that, look at blood sugar, and also do things to help support your gut, and eating, if it's just eating more fiber in your diet.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Fiber, feed the bacteria out. It's actually the best way to do it. Well, listen, I want to thank you for coming on. I know that we're going to get a lot of viewers about every time. It's skin, it's skin and hair. And by the way, ladies, hair, it's really the same as the skin. It's an extension. So what you do in here for your skin is ultimately going to affect your hair too. So
another side benefit.
Go ahead, Meredith, take over. Thanks, Trevor.
Yes, Dr. Pompa. Thank you so much, Dr. Trevor, for joining the show. Amazing information. And everyone, thanks for tuning in. Have a great weekend, and we'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.